Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another Premier League DraftKings DFS slate breakdown. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. I love the festive period, not just because of the holidays, but also because of the sheer amount of soccer, Premier League and UCL. Feels like there's like a lot of big games every day, and I'm super excited for it. It's just another reason to check out the FSI Discord and join us over there through the website linked below. And yeah, on for this Saturday slate, we got a four-game Premier League slate here. No huge teams. Like Newcastle's probably the best on paper, but they've got even a pretty tough matchup away at Crystal Palace. So yeah, pretty interesting slate. Biggest favorites are Brentford at minus 160, as well as Forest minus 140. But really can make an argument for picking guys from any of these teams. In terms of projected lineups and set pieces, for Wolves, it will be Acuna Monopoly, potentially see Sarabia in here, and he might have a small share. Acuna is like the main guy now. Like their whole attack kind of goes through him. For Bournemouth, it should be Cook and Tavernier. If there's no Tavernier, it'll be Christie instead. Brentford and Leicester, Mbuemo and Jensen. If there's no Jensen, it'll be Damsgaard. For Leicester, it should be mostly Buonanotte in this team. There's a chance that Mavididi or Ayu split. If there's no Buonanotte, Christensen also could end up having a share. But they're just kind of weird. They have a lot of different guys who take at different times. Palace and Newcastle. Eze's in projected. That's super interesting. Has not played like a month or something. Hasn't even came in off the bench. They have him coming straight into the lineup, and I expect him to have some sets if he's in. I think he'd probably split with Will Hughes, but you never know with a guy coming back in from injury. Sometimes they don't even have him take just to ease them into it and give them a little bit less of a load than having to run at every corner and having to cross those. So I wouldn't be surprised if Hughes ends up with a larger share or Kamada. Well, Kamada got that red card, so there's no chance he plays, I guess. But Hughes, I think, will be the favorite here. For Newcastle, interesting Tonali's in projected. It'll be Lewis Hall splitting with mostly Gordon, I feel like, although Tonali definitely can hop on set pieces. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Gordon also got subbed early last game, so I don't know if that's like a fitness thing or if he's just kind of they're a lot more healthy Newcastle now. Like no attackers are out, so it just might mean that he's just not a guaranteed 90-minute player anymore, which I worry about a little bit, especially with all these games kind of in a row coming up. A lot of midweek games because of that. Teams definitely are not afraid to make subs earlier just to keep their guys fit and not overworked. So yeah, that's something to think about for sure. Forest and Ipswich for Nottingham. It should be a Ward-Prowse monopoly. It's interesting. He's kind of gone right back in, played 90 minutes against Arsenal. I worry a little bit that he'll go back to being kind of an early sub guy. Potentially, guy doesn't even start. If he isn't in, it should be a Langa. However, Langa I know is also dealing with a knock. And if both of those guys aren't in, I think Hudson Odoi probably would be next man up. Jota Silva, I think his name's Jota. Yeah, Jota Silva is also in projected, has not started, I don't think yet, but he's a super talented player. He'd be interesting to look at price wise. For Ipswich, it should be Leif Davis, almost monopoly. He was splitting with Morsey or Callum Phillips, whoever kind of started in this midfield pivot last couple games, or a while ago. Last couple games, it's been mostly Leif Davis though. He's kind of gone back to almost a monopoly, makes him a lot more appealing. Prices now. There's Cunha, 11K almost. It's hard to argue. Like he's just been on a crazy run. He reminds me a lot of like Marmoush on Frankfurt, another kind of set piece taking forward who just their whole team just runs through that one guy. Makes him super, super appealing for DFSs because they get those crosses from corners. They get so many goal contributions. It just adds up to a ton of points. Guaranteed 90-minute player mostly too. So like Cunha, I just love as a play. I mean, even at 11K, I think it's super tempting to cram him. Gordon, I'm a little bit scared because of last game being subbed. He's just not looked his best in general the last couple games. Got one goal in his last like 5 games. just not what you like want to see. 2 goals and an assist on the year. He's just been down on his numbers, and he's still priced super high at 9,800. Crystal Palace can definitely be a tough matchup. So I definitely want to say he's not in play. He's still definitely a guy with just a solid floor at the least. But if his minutes start dwindling a little bit, that becomes a little bit more scary for sure. I still don't mind it though. Just not going to be a core player or anything at 9,800. Ishak, I think he's just got a decent floor to him, to be fair. Definitely a guy with upside, that's for sure. However, the issue with him is with Callum Wilson back, I worry a little bit about his guaranteed 90-minute status. There were times when they played together last season, but also you'd see one come in for the other, which I worry about a little bit as well. I think Newcastle will become a little bit of a minute roulette at this point, just because they, like all of like second half of last season and this one, they've had attackers out, which means they haven't rotated as much. But now they got all their guys back: Callum Wilson, Harvey Barnes, Almiron, even although I don't think he's been playing that much. Jacob Murphy, though. Like there's just a ton of attackers on that team, and there's not a ton of minutes to go around. Like they play Joe Linton at left wing too. That's another guy who is in the rotation. There's just too many guys right now on them, so it makes them a little bit scary for me in cash at least, just because I like guys with more safer minutes, especially considering you're paying a premium for them, like Ishak, like Gordon. Chris Wood, I think that's gonna be a great GPP play. Cash, I'm not really interested in. Callum Wilson's a lot, even if he starts. I just don't love that. Souza's a lot as well. If Souza starts, there's no word Prowse, potentially means sets. I'd like that. I think there's zero way he plays. Same with Hudson Odoi. If it's like a set looking lineup for them. Joe Linton, GPP. If you see him at left wing, a little bit more appealing than at center mid. Star, I don't mind. I think you could maybe even get there in cash. Had that kind of career game against Aston Villa. Palace are a really beaten up team right now. Quite a bit of injuries to attackers or suspensions. So he's been super solid 4 minutes, which is not typical of Ismail Sarr, but he's had solid floor at times. Had that off game against Fulham, but definitely can get there for sure. So I don't mind that. Other guys, Mavididi, I don't mind. I wonder why Winks wasn't in projected. Oh, he's dealing with an injury, that's why. But Mavididi potentially could have sets 5,900. I don't mind that really. Brentford aren't a team that are going to dominate. Like they tend to, if they get an early lead, they'll sit back for sure. And Leicester can be a possession team at times, although we're not really sure what they'll do without with Ruben Nistelrooy as their new manager. But I imagine him being a pretty possession based guy. So I don't really mind a Mavididi play. Jimmy Vardy 3,900. I can definitely get behind that for GPP because that is just so cheap for a guy who's still looking not terrible, even as he approaches his 40s. So yeah, I don't mind Jamie Vardy in GPP. Even cash is like a just crazy punt just to save salary. I don't even think that is that crazy. Midfielders Mbuemo 10-4. This is super tempting. Leicester, even if Van Nistelrooy turns out to be like a home run higher, it's not going to be right away. It'll take some time for them to kind of gel and ease into what Van Nistelrooy wants. So because of that, like I could see this game being pretty high scoring. Brentford kind of have been the kings of that lately. So I mean, and Mbuemo's kind of usually been the beneficiary of that. I know his floor isn't crazy, but his upside definitely makes it work. So I like Mbuemo a lot, despite being that expensive. I'd say if he's in, I'm probably fading him just because in cash at least I'm talking about. Just because I worry a little bit about his health. He just is not going to be a 90-minute guy. I know he's put up super solid numbers, but Newcastle's a tough game. And I'd rather go like a safer Mbuemo than SA in cash. I just want to wait and see for at least a week just to see how he is and whether he gets some meaningful minutes under his belt. Other mids, I think it's a tough match for Buonanotte, but I don't mind it. Another guy that I feel like I kind of want to wait a little bit and see how he does under the coach. Tavernier, I don't think is bad. I think it's a solid floor there. He's not really hit much upside, but I definitely can see him getting there against like bottom of the table almost Wolves. So Tavernier, I like that. And then it's kind of punt. There's not a ton of there's Ward Prowse actually. This is the mid range. This might be a core play if he starts Ipswich at home. That's like best odds on the slate almost. Monopoly set taker went in. You worry a little bit about his minutes, but they've kind of put him in tough games. All of his starts have been against big teams, possession-based teams, Brighton, Fulham, Chelsea, Liverpool. So he's not really had a chance to shine. Against Ipswich, definitely can kind of get up there to his like prime Southampton days, prime West Ham days. So Ward Prowse, I definitely like that at 5,500. That is super tempting to me. That might even be a core play, honestly. Will Hughes, 4,400. If there's no Eze, I like that a lot more. This Duveni guy, if he starts, he's looked okay. I don't like that as a flyer. Probably more GPP though. Almiron, if he somehow starts 3,600, wouldn't be terrible. But yeah, those are the mids. Defenders, Lewis Hall is just too much for me. I'm not interested in that 6,700. Like, there's so many expensive attackers like Cunha, like Embuemo, like Gordon. It makes it hard to cram a guy like Lewis Hall for 6,700. I'd rather go down to Leaf Davis. I know it's only a 700 discount, but just a monopoly set taker versus a splitter. Leaf Davis gets super high up the pitch, which Lewis Hall doesn't usually do. He sits back typically and lets Gordon kind of be the width on that left-hand side. But Leaf Davis, I know he's had a tough couple of games against Man United and Tottenham, but Nottingham Forest is definitely nowhere near that level. I expect him to kind of get back to his best here. And then 6K is a fair price. Like that might be a core play too. Nico Williams, meh. Eight Nori, okay for GPP. I think you're likely punting your second D slot just because I was looking at builds and there's only so much you can do. If you're going to just play like Acuna and Embuemo, for example, that's like a third of your salary gone in two players. Because of that, it's hard to go too many more kind of big studs, and especially if you're already going to go Leaf Davis, for example. I imagine then you have to go cheaper. Like if Christensen, I don't mind if we see no Buonanotte, that could work. But then I think you're really looking for kind of a cheap, like sub 3K defender. Guys I'm looking at are like Adam Smith if he starts for 2,800. Zabe if he's at like right back for 2,700. Then like a Nathan Collins, I don't think is bad. It's a Barney, I don't think is bad. I like 2,500 can't really do wrong on favored teams. Pair him with a set taker, I think be completely fine. All right. Goalkeeper, crapshoot, as always. Not going to spend much time on that. Just play who fits the rest of the build after you prioritize kind of the outfield players that you want. And core, Leaf Davis, Ward Prowse, way more Cunha for last slot. Potentially just go both. I'm going to go with Cunha though. That'll be my core guys though for now. But if there's like a lineup surprise or something, I always change. I could always potentially change. Nothing's really finalized till an hour before after the lineups come in. Another reason to join the Discord linked below. But yeah, guys, that'll be it, and I'll see you for the next video, and hopefully a lot of videos over this festive period, as they call it. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.